What's up guys, my name's Brandon and iOS 14.5 Beta 1 has been out for nearly 2 weeks for public beta testers and for registered developers. And after running it for a while on multiple devices, I wanted to give you guys an updated review on the software to discuss the performance and the battery life since my last follow-up video last weekend, and also go over some crazy new features in this update. So first off, we were correct with our prediction that Apple would be on a 2-week cycle for iOS 14.5, as we did not get a beta update this week. We did not get beta 2 this week. The only update we got this week was macOS Big Sur 11.2.1. And this update was a very minor one, as it only addressed an issue that, quote, may prevent the battery from charging in some 2016 and 2017 MacBook Pro models. So that's the only reason I did not cover that Big Sur update. But, if you guys would like to see more macOS software update videos on the channel, let me know down in the comment below, because I definitely can do those. I just assumed that not as many people would be interested in those, so I just kind of never did it. But let me know if you would like to see more macOS related videos here on the channel, specifically the updates. So anyways, back to iOS and iPadOS 14.5 Beta 1. How has everything been running? And for me, that answer is actually pretty good, and I'll discuss the performance and the battery life in a few, but let's first talk about how many new features are packed into this update. I don't think that anybody was prepared for this many new features and changes, but I don't think you're going to see anybody complaining about there being this many new changes either. So let's first cover a new feature in iOS 14.5 that we iPhone users have been waiting on for a long time, and that is the ability to change the default music player on iOS. That's right. So you can now change the default music app to something like Spotify or Pandora if you want to. All you have to do is simply ask Siri to play music, and you will get a prompt like this. You can see Siri says back, which app would you like to use? And you can see you get the option to use Apple Music, Podcasts, or Spotify. And if you have something like Pandora installed, it would show that as well, as you can see from this right here. This is another screenshot. Now, I didn't do this on video just because it's very buggy. It does not work every time for me. So these are screenshots from Twitter and Reddit users. I will leave their handles linked down in the description. But anyways, you can see this is something like you would see here in 14.5. So, this person asked, give me more in the bedroom. So it's saying to play that song in the bedroom, and Siri asks what you would like to, play that through. Would you like to play it through YouTube Music, Deezer, Castro? You get all these different options to play that music through. And then after, telling it what you want to play through the first time, it's going to default to that. So when you ask Siri to play music, it's going to default and play it through whatever you picked the first time. So this is a huge feature for iOS, something that I personally, especially when I used to have a Spotify subscription, I wish that this was a feature a long time ago. But now, thankfully, it's coming in 14.5. Now, there is no toggle in settings to change something like this, at least not yet. This could be coming. So like in settings, for example, if you go to like Spotify right here, you can see there's no option to make that like your default music player. There's nothing inside of settings for that here in 14.5, at least not yet, at least not in the first beta. So the fact that we have this through Siri tells me that the feature is coming. We probably will have a toggle at some point, but as of right now in beta 1, we do not have a toggle, but that is a massive new feature that we can change the default music app here on the iPhone and the iPad. Now, another big feature in 14.5 is that we have the Waze features coming to Apple Maps. So yes, this is something that I think a lot of people are going to be extremely excited about, because Apple Maps is just so much better integrated with like CarPlay and things like that than Waze is. It's kind of more reliable than Waze as well for specific things, not necessarily directions, but you know what I mean. So basically now you're going to be able to report things like you can on Waze. So you can report speed traps, you can report accidents, you can report a hazard on the road, like if something's on the road. You could do that through the Maps app on your iPhone. You could do it through CarPlay if you have that in your car, or you could just tell Siri to report an incident and it will report it for you. So this is super cool, and I cannot wait to see this and try this on 14.5. Another new feature in 14.5 is that Apple now proxies safe browsing traffic from Google to protect your information, like your IP address. So basically, Safari's built-in fraudulent website warning feature, which you've probably seen before, it uses Google Safe Browsing, which is essentially a database of malicious websites like phishing websites. And that's what checks to see if you're trying to visit one of those sites, and it will let you know before it loads. It'll have like a red screen. You guys probably know what that looks like. Now, Apple in 14.5 is actually going to pass that check through their servers instead of Google servers, which means that your IP address is not going to be shared with Google. So it's going to kind of proxy over that. And you can see somebody here on Reddit went through on NextDNS to see, what Apple was doing here, and it no longer uses the Google database. It actually goes through Apple first and then to Google. So it's kind of like a pass-through, it's kind of like a proxy for that, and that is supposedly going to keep your information more secure and just kind of not share it with Google, things like your IP address. So pretty interesting there in 14.5. It seems like Apple is really focusing on privacy in this update, because we did also have the tracking feature that Facebook is not happy about either. So Apple's kind of just going after Facebook and Google, which is pretty crazy. Another new feature here in 14.5 beta 1 is inside of the music application under the radio tab. You'll notice that the schedule text has been replaced with an actual schedule icon. And if you tap on that, it takes you to the same schedule right here. So nothing's changed on this page. We just got a slight difference here in the UI. It actually shows a calendar icon now instead of saying schedule, and it's also easier to see. So a nice aesthetic change there in 14.5. Another new feature that I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about is that Apple seems to be testing ads inside of the App Store. So you can see here on the search page, you can see that there is an ad right there. So it says suggested, and you can see the little blue text there showing that this is in fact an ad. So Apple appears to be testing this. It does not populate every time, and it's not going to populate for everybody, but Apple is testing out ads inside of the App Store, similar to what Google does with Google Play on Android devices. So I'm personally not a fan of it. However, sometimes you could find good applications through an ad, but still, it just shows ad, and that just kind of turns you off, because you don't expect to see ads inside of the App Store. So that's an interesting new change coming in this update as well. And then another thing I wanted to mention as well is that the PlayStation app now fully opens up. So you can see here the PlayStation app now works properly, and that was after Sony pushed out an update for the application. So it was an issue with 14.5, but an update to the PlayStation app fixed it, and it's now fully compatible with this update. So for those of you that use that application, that is fixed. Now, as far as remaining bugs in 14.5 beta 1, I am still constantly having issues with AirPlay. So for some reason, I still cannot use AirPlay properly. So I can screen mirror my phone to my TV with no issue, but when it comes to actually playing videos like on YouTube, I'm not able to AirPlay to my TV. It just sits there and loads forever and just does not work. So I'm still having issues with AirPlay. As far as AirDrop goes, AirDrop is getting a lot better for me. It's not as bad as it was initially. For some reason, nothing has really changed. I'm not sure, why that is, but it's still not 100%. It's still not as good as it was in 14.4 for me. So Apple still has some improvements with AirDrop as well. Another bug I'm still having is the random loud notification bug. So sometimes my notifications will just be abnormally loud for really no reason. It's like the beginning is low and then the second part of the notification, if that makes sense, is loud. So just abnormally loud notifications has come back here in 14.5, and I've seen other people in the comments report on this as well. So if you have that issue, let me know down in a comment below. And also, I'm noticing a bug right now. So you can see right there, it says brain fuel, but the picture shows my rap playlist. So that's something I just now realized in the music widget. That is not proper. So that is not how it's supposed to be. The brain fuel does not have any of those songs in it. So just a minor bug there, even with the music widget here in 14.5 beta 1. Now, another issue some people are having is an issue with Bluetooth. So me personally, I've not had any issues with Bluetooth at all on 14.5, but some people are reporting issues with their Bluetooth dropping, specifically with the AirPods Max. So my AirPods Max have been working just fine on this update. Never had an issue, but I did want to talk about it because I did see multiple people in my comments discussing that. Now, as far as performance goes, performance is fine. I mean, nothing has really changed. There's nothing new to report on since my previous follow-up video last weekend on 14.5 beta 1. However, I did run a new Geekbench test, and I did end up getting higher scores here on my 12 Pro. So if I go to my history here, CPU test, you can see I just did this test today, the time I'm recording this on February 12th, and February 4th is the day that it came out. So you can see I have higher scores now, probably because everything is finished, putting itself in place and everything. But you can see I got a 1589 and a 3939 compared to a 1581 and a 3872. But those numbers are still below 14.4, which you can see here on January 13th. I got a 1591, which is higher, and also a 4025, which is higher as well. So still not quite on par with 14.4, but that is kind of expected given the fact that this is the first beta of 14.5, and we probably have multiple more to go. Now, as far as the battery life goes, now that I've had more time with 14.5 on multiple devices, I actually have to say that it is not as good as 14.4 like I originally said. So I do get slightly less battery life, maybe like 45 minutes to an hour less of on-screen time. And I noticed that I have to charge my phone before I go to bed, which I just didn't have to do as much on 14.4. It'll be like a couple of hours before I have to go to bed if I don't plug my phone in at all throughout the day. And I did not have to do that on 14.4. So I guess, it just kind of hit me one day, like, why am I having to charge my phone? That's not normal. And on the iPad as well, it's better than the iPhone in terms of comparing 14.4 to 14.5. Not as bad on the iPad, but on the iPhone, I can tell that it is slightly worse than 14.4. So I hope that beta 2 resolves something with battery life. I hope it improves battery life in some capacity. I've also seen some people talk about how they have standby drain. So basically if their phone is just, locked like this and it's in standby, their battery will just drain. Now, I've not had that at all, but some people are reporting that. So hopefully that will be fixed as well. But then again, I feel like somebody says that for every single version and it's not necessarily the software's fault. So we'll see, but hopefully beta 2 does improve on the battery life. Now, speaking of beta 2, let's talk about when we can expect to see iOS 14.5 beta 2. And I would expect that next week on the week of February 15th. So we will probably see iOS 14.5 beta 2 on either the 15th or the 16th. So beta 1 was released on Monday, February 1st. So if it was going to be exactly 2 weeks, it would be on the 15th. However, Apple has really been loving those Tuesday releases, so who knows? I can see it on the 15th or the 16th of next week. I don't think it would be any later than that. Now, as far as an iOS 14.4.1, is that a possibility? And I say yes, but I think that it would have to be released within the next 2 weeks if it's coming at all. I think that it would have to come either next week or the week of the 22nd if it's going to come at all. So I think that if we wait until March, we're just not going to see a 14.4.1 because 14.5 will be out in March, and it would not make any sense for Apple to release 2 software updates in the same month. Now, anything's possible, but that is just my prediction based on the history of things and just thinking about it, logically from Apple's standpoint. But of course, we'll have a better idea when iOS 14.5 beta 2, and especially when beta 3 gets released. So I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter about iOS 14.4.1 and 14.5 beta 2 and beta 3 as well. So make sure you guys are following me over there on Twitter. That is linked down below. But overall, I'm satisfied with 14.5 beta 1, and I cannot wait for beta 2. This is just going to be a major release when it comes out to the public in March. I mean, all these massive new features are going to make headlines, and it's going to be a very important update for everybody. Now, as for my wallpaper, I know I get questions all the time on the wallpapers I use. If you guys want to have access to all of my wallpapers, those are free in my Discord. So I have a Discord. As long as you accept the rules, then you go down to the wallpaper channel, you will see all the wallpapers. I post them personally myself in the Discord chat. So if you guys are not a member over there, make sure you go ahead and join. That is linked down in the description below, along with every other video. I have that link down there. But anyways, guys, that is iOS 14.5 beta 1, my second follow-up, and hopefully this bug goes away with the music right here. It's kind of bothering me. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, and if you cannot wait for beta 2, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and also make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my beta 2 coverage here on the channel. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.